Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Level 2, Managing Data to Support Construction and Engineering Work Packages, presented by Justin Francis. Before we begin, we'll start with a quick safety moment. So today's safety moment is on water. Some very obvious but helpful tips that you always need to keep in mind, and always good reminders. Never leave a child alone around water. Always know your limitations. Never swim alone. Always wear a life jacket, especially while boating, and make sure that it's the appropriate weight and size for your water activity. Always swim sober. Always understand the dangers of hyperventilation and blackout, and always know how and when to call for help, and especially in the certain types of water environment that you may be in, whether it's a river, an ocean, a lake. Just know your hazards and be aware of your surroundings. So with that, we're going to jump into the agenda and objective for today. So today we're going to discuss managing data to support construction and engineering work packages. And specifically, we'll be covering types of data in a typical project, issues with data while dealing with it, data source and exchange methods, O3 data management, and O3 supported data exchange methods, data specification requirements, data pre-processing, types of work packaging, supported 3D formats, 3D model data framework, federated models, purpose-based material takeoff from the 3D model, fabrication data, and drawings and documents. And then we'll be discussing some recommendations about data preparation and data transfer. And then finally, we'll take questions and answers as time permits. And as a reminder, you can type your questions in the chat. And if we don't get to your question, we will try to follow up with you as soon as possible by email. But just a reminder, use your GoToWebinar chat function. You can send us those directly. So now I'll take a minute to introduce Justin. He is O3's Director of Digital Integrations. He has an extensive experience in international engineering and IT with a heavy focus on the oil and gas and BIM construction industry. He's the lead role for technical solutions regarding engineering data migration and interoperability here at O3. He's developed and deployed software across multi-billion-dollar projects for the past 2 decades. And thanks for joining us today, Justin. I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Tori. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Let me give you a little bit more about my background. I have worked more than 25 years in handling data for engineering and construction. Started my career in civil engineering and worked designing industrial buildings. Then moved to IT and focused mainly on developing software solutions in engineering and construction industry. I have master's degree in software development and have designed many tools such as 3D model translators, software for quantity takeoff, software for creating interior construction tag, generating 3D models from 2D drawings based on the rules, software for bar bending schedule are some of them. And I have worked a lot in the area of reverse engineering. This is a very short additional description of me. Okay. Okay, let me share my slide because it's not moving. 1 second, please. Okay. All right, let's start. Data in this context is any information that is needed to complete the project. Data comes in different format with a different type of information, and data is produced at different times. Some data are byproduct of other data. Some data are created independently. Data created use different type of tools, etc. But they are all needed at certain times, in certain format, in their greatest and latest version, to the right people at the right time to complete the project on time as per the project spec. See this slide. Many type of data we need in a typical project. As you know, this is just a subset. More interesting is the fact that each and every company may have same data in different format with a different level of details depending on how they execute their project. 3D model data, fabrication data, materials, drawings, rule of credit, resources, it's a long list. When we deal with this data, we encounter many issues. Let's take a look at a couple of common issues and how O3 solutions dealing with these. Issues with the data while dealing with it. We will face a lot of issues while dealing with the data. I don't think that any project has been completed and will be able to complete without encountering issues with the data. With the right tool and the right experienced people, they may be able to foresee these issues and fix or prevent them from the very beginning and overcome them promptly without causing much hindrance in the project delivery. There are many reasons for this. Maybe it's involved technology use, human errors are very common, wrong people handling or transferring data without understanding the purpose, and the data ownership issues like IP rights or combination of all these things. We'll have a look at a couple of them and see how O3 is handling this. First, data transfer. Data is not always created and used in the same system. Everyone knows this. It would be the best if it was created and used in the same system. But unfortunately, this is not so. And in most and in almost all cases, we have to do data transfer. In some cases, many format changes are needed before it is used in the work packaging. We may face many issues with the data transfer, like lose the quality of data, lose the part of the data, and sometimes it is very difficult to extract data, the needed data from the and consume it for the work packaging. Data might be scattered and so on. O3 solution has a brilliant module to analyze the data and consume them based on their purpose, and we will discuss this very soon. Next, data manipulation in the intermediate format. Data is shared in closed or open format. What I mean here is data is shared either in ASCII format or in binary format. When data is shared in a structured human readable format like CSV or structured text file, many times I have noticed that the data is manually fixed, or better say manipulated, before being consumed. There are a couple of issues with this. First of all, data is not fixed in the source system, and each time someone has to do the fixing manually. It is error prone, time consuming, and much more. Sometimes the changes are not in the data itself, maybe also in the import file column headers to match with the import fields. Maybe that's why Mr. X is opening the file and fixing it manually. Anyway, someone has to open the file manually and do some manipulation before consuming the data. To a certain extent, O3 provides certain features to avoid manipulating data manually. We have a rule-based engine to analyze and do data fixing if needed without any human interference. We will discuss this in the section how O3 manage data. Lack of understanding of use of data. Have you ever encountered a situation when you ask for data and the provider says that they have an export that they did or they are doing every export periodically, and they can share that export so that we don't need to do any additional work? Any data transfer should be made with a clear understanding of use of the data. It is very common to do one data export for many purposes. This may be end up with the redundant data, and also in many cases the needed data will be missing. We frequently encounter such issues. Next, losing data quality when selecting the wrong method to transfer data. Selecting the right tool and the format to transfer data is very vital in data transfer. Nowadays, there are many ways to transfer data from one system to another. Unfortunately, but understanding the use of the data is very important, as mentioned earlier. Let me give you an example. We want to transfer one 3D model with the data from one format to another format for work packaging scope. There are a couple of things that we should be careful with. The data requirement for the work packaging scope. What is the best geometric object type that will give you the best rendering performance, like whether a pipe is exported as a cylinder or pipe is exported as an extrusion or a mesh or as a faceted geometry like a bunch of triangles. This will depend on the graphic engine. So we should have an understanding on that. The next step is to assess the options that are available in the authoring tool against the work packaging data requirement, and then select the best export method. There are other factors involved in this. In O3 solution, we have our in-house subject matter expert to advise on this to get the best quality data. Usually, these are all set up at the beginning of the project so that this need not be changed again. Next, mismatching data set. Another problem we may frequently encounter is different version of the same data. For example, the 3D model and MTO is not being in the same version. The model may be updated with the latest version, but the available MTO may be with the previous version or vice versa. This really delayed the project. Imagine a combination of this with the other issues. O3 strategy is to reduce number of type of data input. If a set of data is imported to O3 solutions and from the same source, client is generating another set of the data for O3 solutions, then O3 will be able to do the same data generation inside the O3 solutions. For example, if you have a Tekla model and the client is generating MTO from the Tekla model and providing for the work packaging scope, this can be avoided as we provide an option to generate MTO from the 3D model. As soon as a new revision of the 3D model is available, MTO will be generated and updated in the project. This is just an example. Of course, we do control data import, and the related data will be identified and checked before importing data to the project to avoid mismatching data in the system. Inconsistency data reference. This is somehow common, especially in mega project where many contractors and maybe subcontractors are involved in generating the data, or in some small project where the project data is poorly controlled. I can tell you an example from my experience. An isometric name has a separator between project area and isometric number. Separator character was agreed. It was a mega project and more than one company was involved in working with the piping discipline. Even though separator character was agreed and documented, but different companies used different separators, and some companies even stored the area name in separate column. This was identified in the later stage of the project. Data was there, but was highly inconsistent. Going back and fixing them was time consuming, but with the existing data, linking with the resources were at stake. This was just an example. Here, in O3 solution, in such cases, data framework play a key role to solve inconsistency issues to a good extent using our rule-based data analysis framework. There are many other issues such as partial data availability, not providing or exchanging data knowingly or unknowingly, IP rights issues. Very recently, I heard from one of our project managers that the client is receiving MTO in PDF format and they are hesitant to give in Excel format. Interesting, but it's really annoying. Anyhow, I will not go further because it will need a workshop to detail it. This is just to bring you to the context that the good data management system like O3 solutions will be addressing all these issues when it's come to the data and sustainably solve them in the right place. We are not claimed to solve everything, but we are addressing and solving issues to very good extent. Also, we are truly agile. Every 2 weeks, we release a new features. So any issues we encounter will be tackled, solved, and made available in the next release. It is an ongoing, consistent practice. Like other software, one need not wait for a year or more to get any new features in the software. Data origin and exchange method. Data is created in some tools and we call them authoring tools. Like a 3D model, it is created in software like SmartPlan 3D, E3D, PDMS, Tekla structures, etc. Project schedule is created in P6 or Microsoft project. Drawings are created in different authoring tools like AutoCAD, MicroStation, or generated from the 3D model. Maybe material takeoff is created by a quantity surveyor in the Excel format, etc. This is the first stage. Usually work packaging software will not create this data. Once the data is created, then that should be transferred to the work packaging system. Currently, we use different methods to transfer data from one system to another. I will explain a few general methods. Direct import. If the target system supports the data format of the authoring tool, then it could directly be imported to the target system like O3 solutions. We support many authoring tool formats, so no transfer is required. We can directly import the data to the O3 solutions. The transfer is direct does not mean that the data will be exactly be same as the authoring tool. Unless the work packaging tool have the same level of expertise and capability to reading and interpreting the data. Intermediate format is the another one. So it is widely used, which involved more than one step if the work packaging system is not supporting the intermediate format that is available in the authoring tool. Intermediate 4 is widely used for data transfer, especially in transferring 3D model. Example, Aviva RVM, Integraph UE files, industry standard like IFC, CSP, or ISO 50926 are examples. API, another option is to use API integration for data import and export between two systems. Now let's have a look at how O3 solutions support all this data transfer mechanism and its capabilities. O3 data exchange methods. O3 support various data exchange methods. O3 support RESTful APIs. O3 integrate directly with other modern sophisticated tools and also legacy system data. We have integrated many systems, for example, SPC, SPM, SPX, ConstructSim, P6, SAP, Floor Macman, Lindy CMS, Asai, etc. It's a long list. Majority of data import is through API integration. We encourage this as it has many benefits over the direct and intermediate format, but we use direct and intermediate format if API integration is not feasible. We can integrate with any system, and until now we have not encountered any system that we cannot integrate with. 3D model, for graphical data we use direct import and also we use intermediate format. O3 use Autodesk Forge app for 3D visualization and graphical work packaging. We will discuss this in our support. We will discuss the supported format very soon. We have direct integration with the BIM Autodesk BIM 360 doc. Flat file formats. In addition to all this, O3 support flat data import and export. O3 has tool for data mapping. We will look at this in a minute. O3 has an expert team to decades of experience in data exchange. Our experts support the project team to bring the data to O3 system and provide support service for this. O3 provide template for collecting manual and unstructured data and bring into the system in a meaningful way. Let's discuss how O3 manage data. The first step is data requirements. Data requirement, clearly define the needs. We are already discussed that there are many ways to bring data to O3 solutions. So there is always a question, what is the needed data? It is very important to clearly define the need of the data. We have a detailed data requirement specification document for defining the data requirement for each and every scope of work. This document details graphical and non-graphical data requirements. Data requirement document clearly define which data is mandatory, which data is recommended, and what is optional. The data requirement document cover full AWP scope. Inside O3, in the project setting, we can define which data is needed in order to create a work package, which data is needed for data completeness, and which data is required to close out a package for each type of work packaging. Before starting any project, we agree with our clients on how we need the data, not only for 3D model, but also for complete AWP implementation scope. This is very critical for a successful implementation. Data pre-processing. O3 solution has many ways to analyze and prepare the data before importing to O3. There are many benefits for this. To make sure that data is properly classified for the purpose during the import itself. Import only the needed data from the source, and if any data is missing, then identify them. O3 solutions facilitate the importing the missing data or additional data from other sources to make data completeness for the end user. At this pre-processing stage, we provide function to analyze the data and fix them if needed. We create additional data from the data if needed during the pre-processing. For example, when we import the fabrication data, we generate additional data that will be helpful for the workplace planner, such as inch dia, inch meter, etc. At the pre-processing stage, O3 link data with the resources like drawings, document, material takeoff, etc. While you are mapping the data to the purpose-based data resources could be automatically linked to the data. There are many other reasons for pre-processing. I don't want to go into many details on that at this point. Basically, no need to manually fix the source data in a certain extent or manually merge data outside O3 solution. This is very time consuming as well as error prone. But O3 will provide option to classify, fix data, and add missing data based on the rules during the pre-processing stage. Data pre-processing feature is available when we integrate O3 solution through API, direct data import, or data import through intermediate format. Data classification is very important to use data efficiently in packaging. As you know, data blocks are not a standalone entity in O3 solutions, but they are linked with all its relevant data. In other data in our data management, classification will play a big role to identify the correct resources for the particular data set. O3 solution will intelligently pull only the needed data to the package based on the purpose and the scope of the package. This will really reduce the human interaction each and every time when you use the data for packaging purpose. O3 support various type of data export. Also the same way O3 support data import. User can export any data that brought to the O3 solutions as or generated in the O3 solution. It's awesome. Import template. In addition to the pre-processing functionality, O3 solutions also provide purpose-based templates that will really help end user with what data to be brought to O3 solutions for a specific purpose. O3 provide functionality for generating import templates. So user can generate template and bring data using it. Template will give the user the exact format of bringing data to O3 based on the data requirement. Data deliverable. Data deliverable is another fantastic feature of O3. Here you could specify data source, field mapping, rule-based data fixing, etc. If needed, also save the import history and change history. Rule-based data mapping facade to take the data to O3 solutions. User can do the data massage and get the data in the best way that should be used for packaging purpose. All the mapping and data fixing rule could be saved and reused to the same project or exported to use in another similar project. So in O3 solutions, Whatever work is done could be always reused. Data import can be scheduled, so no human interference is needed if it is a periodic data update. It is an amazing feature in our data management stack. O3 is a pioneer and very strong in data integration. We have many tools to intelligently analyze and integrate data to the system. O3 systems support various types of data in the work packaging. O3 support graphical data work packaging, and we support fully graphical work packaging if 3D model is available. O3 solution also support the hybrid version, which involved graphical and non-graphical data in the same package. Also, O3 has the capability of linking non-graphical construction component to its relevant graphical component to enable Workspace Planner to create work packaging using 3D model. For example, linking graphical cable tray system with cable schedule that will enable Workspace Planner to do cable pulling work package graphically. And of course, O3 solutions support fully non-graphical work packaging if no 3D model is available. It is very important to select an AWP solution that support all type of work packaging based on your data to work seamlessly. Supported 3D model formats. We use Autodesk Forge for 3D model visualization. We support all major file formats. We read native files as well as review format and industry standard format. We support more than 70 file formats. Following are some of them: SmartPlan 3D, Aviva PDMS, E3D, piping fabrication data, PCF and IDF, Autodesk Revit, CADWorks, Tekla Structures, Navisworks, etc. We are pioneers in managing 3D model data. Data framework. This is very important to understand how O3 manage 3D model data and non-graphical data. We use Forge for 3D visualization, but data is completely managed by O3 solutions. We have a construction component framework. It is highly flexible and dynamic framework. This feature will enable user to use 3D model and non-graphical data efficiently in the work packaging. The framework is designed in a way that user can create construction component based on the data collected and conditioned from the various sources such as 3D model data, fabrication data, and calculated or derived data based on the other data. And also we can import external data and include them in the construction component for data completeness. So no need to look other sources when you work with O3 solutions. For example, in the 3D model, we have an equipment. But if the equipment is missing some vital information that is needed for Workspace Planner, this information is available externally as an equipment list. If so, construction component framework will allow import of the data from the equipment list and add the missing information in the 3D model equipment and use it in the work packaging. We also keep all this in sustainable way so that when the model is updated with a new revision, you don't need to do all this work again and again. Construction component is discipline specific. It can contain one or many 3D objects. The same 3D model objects could be used in different work packaging scopes. So we allow the user to use the same 3D object to create a construction component in different work packaging scope. For example, 3D object used for the fabrication work package scope can later be used for erection work packaging scope in different combination. Maybe in later stage, it can be used for the test work packaging scope. For sure, construction component for this different scope will have different relevant data sets and graphical grouping. Construction component framework is built on rule-based engine. Construction component can be created even without 3D model data. Let's have a look the result when you O3 process the 3D model and create construction components. This is a model exported from SmartPlan 3D using its review format. You can see the highlighted box how data is exported and organized in the 3D model. Data is exported almost flat. There is some grouping of disciplines. Those who know this data structure and its accuracy knows that it is not that great. It is not accurate, even the grouping. You can see foundations are grouped under equipment, many objects are grouped under unknown, etc. Without proper data analysis capability, using this model for work packaging will be a real challenge. Data structure as it is good for many other scope, but not for work packaging scope. When O3 processed this model for the model in our data framework, we create construction component that matches exactly with what you are building at the site. It will be one-to-one matching for each and every scope. Let's have a look at the result. See the left side tree. Construction components are created and grouped under each trade. Concrete, then concrete foundation, concrete pile, concrete file cap, pedestals, etc. Under piping trade, you can see the construction component, isometric and spools. These are construction components that will exactly match with the object that are constructing at the site. O3 makes sure of the data completeness when we create the construction component. So no need to go and search data outside the O3 solutions. O3 manage data sustainably. Whenever a new revised model is imported to the project, and if the model has new object, then those objects will be added to the project. And if any objects are deleted from the model, then those objects will be removed. If any objects that were in the package, but it is not present in the new revised model, then those objects will be marked as a missing object in the package and notify the user. Federated model. O3 provide an option to create federated models or group models. This will help user to manage 3D model inside O3 solutions. No need to use an external tool for model grouping. We can create federated model cleverly. We don't duplicate geometry and data when we create federated models. You can easily create many combinations of models on the fly as per your scope and data. And geometry will not be copied, only consumed. We do this very intelligently. O3 support all type of transformation and unit conversion. For example, like a master unit, translation, scale, rotation, etc. This is a fantastic feature that enable Workface Planner to create a tailor-made model grouping for their per scope. No need to re-import or merge or group model or using external tools that are outside the O3 solutions. All this a Workface Planner can do. No need a super user or admin to do this. As per the need, federated models can be created in seconds and start using it. For example, a piping installation IWP scope, we could create a model group with a pipe and steel only for a CWP, which will be very convenient for a Workface Planner to do his work. On the other hand, for status visualization or 4D, we could create a federated model of a couple of CWAs, etc. Purpose-based material takeoff from the 3D model. O3 solution provide purpose-based material takeoff from the 3D model. This feature allow user to put rules, and based on the rules, O3 generate material quantities. Material quantities will be classified based on their purpose. See this example. Steel fabrication and erection of a steel assembly. Steel fabrication may involve many fabrication steps. These steps might be done in different IWPs. Hence, each and every package may need certain materials, but not all material of steel assembly. When O3 generate material, we take care of this and classify them for purpose. So when a steel assembly is assigned for a plate cutting IWP, then the material needed only for that particular purpose will be assigned to that package. Getting accurate material quantity is very important. Usually, estimated man hours will be calculated based on the quantity of the material that are used in the package. So accuracy is highly important. O3 solution provide very accurate material takeoff and data consistency. For example, when a revised model is imported to the system, we can specify a automatically trigger the material takeoff to keep the data consistent. O3 support detailed material takeoff for all disciplines. Indeed, we support importing material takeoff from other systems through direct import or API integration. When O3 create or import material to the system, O3 system analyze the material and link them to appropriate object and purpose as required. We encourage our clients to automate and avoid manual interaction and work. And therefore, O3 has a rich tools to do data integration sustainably. Let's look at the piping fabrication data and how O3 manage that. Fabrication data. O3 support piping fabrication data through PCF, IDF, or some other custom format. We have an advanced fabrication data processing algorithm. O3 knows each and every scope of use of fabrication data and what information a workplace planner is looking for from the fabrication data. So we don't just import the fabrication data to our system, but we analyze and calculate much additional information that is needed for construction or good to have for construction. This is very important for data completeness and also for calculating estimated hours for the package. By default, O3 calculate inch dia, inch meter, spool previous, next connected components, example pipeline, equipment, spool, field components. This info will be available in each spool, pipe or pipe fitting. The total length of the spool length will be calculated from the coordinates for the accuracy, number of shop welds, number of field welds, number of components, pipe and pipe fittings. Any additional info which is available as a design property could be included in the construction component at the relevant level. Non-modeled geometric items will be created. For example, field welds will be created, gasket will be created, bolt set, flange union, as etc. as per the project requirements. We will create a geometric object for this because in the 3D model or in the PCF we will not have this geometric object, so we create the additional geometric object for this. Connection components like welds will be consumed from the spooled PCF and IDF. Pipe will be physically broken as per the IDF and PCF spooling info. Any additional data, if needed, can be incorporated with the fabrication data very easily and sustainably. I have mentioned many times in this presentation word sustainable because it is very important to know it. When O3 manage data, not only data but anything in general, this is not just a one-time thing. And when O3 update data, we will not wipe everything, and it's easy to do that, removing everything, right? But O3 analyze the data and update it wherever is needed. So you do not need to do anything again whenever the data is updated. O3 data management framework does not lose any imported data. It only get updated, and of course, unless you specify otherwise. We always manage data sustainably. Material takeoff from the fabrication data. O3 support material takeoff from the piping fabrication data, and therefore no need to generate MTO outside the O3 solutions and import to O3 in each and every revision. As fabrication data is consumed, O3 triggers purpose-based, rule-based material MTO generation from the fabrication data. And once the revised model is imported to the system, MTO will be automatically updated. See this example: fab material, erection material, insulation, painting, heat strength material, etc. Only the relevant material will be automatically added to the work packaging purpose on its scope. Sorry, based on its scope. We also support unit conversions, and we support advanced map functions for calculations when we generate the material takeoff. Drawings and documents. O3 solution has a direct integration with the BIM 360 doc. O3 solution can integrate with any document management system. O3 solution is not a document management system, but we integrate with the document management system and consume the data. Also, we can directly import drawings and documents to the system. Drawings and documents can be viewed inside the O3 solutions. We can annotate drawings and trigger a workflow. It is very powerful feature. Drawings and documents can be classified and can be easily linked to with the package, bill of materials, constraints, execution task, etc. There are some challenges in linking document reference from the other resources to a physical document file. For example, in some cases, file names will not match with the drawing reference. Maybe it will follow another pattern, or revision names at the end, or prefixes, or sheet names, etc. We provide functionality to link them intelligently and not just rename the file names manually each and every time to match with the drawing reference. We have a vast experience in linking document automatically and avoid manual work. We use a lot of API integration for importing drawings and documents to O3 solutions. Let me give you some detail about the data preparation. Object tagging. Data preparation is very important for success of project and data management. It is very important to have object tag, a unique object identifier for a construction object. This is completely different topic which will come under data preparation. But to do proper data management, object tags are mandatory. When I deal with the new project data, I can say that we are much better now than how we were a couple of years ago. Piping, equipment, and steel discipline shows a big improvement in tagging construction objects. And these tags are used as a unique identifier in the project to reference them. It is always too good to create tags when we create the data. More important is to create meaningful tags. If it is an intelligent tag, the automation will be much easier, smooth, and accurate. Usually, concrete discipline is poorly tagged in the 3D model. So it is challenging to use concrete models as it is for work packaging scope. Let's take an example of a concrete foundation and how we recommend tagging the models. This is just a concept because each company may have their own tagging procedure. The bottom line is we should be able to uniquely reference the construction object for linking to materials, documents, drawings, execution tasks, progress, schedule, resources, etc. To a certain extent, O3 systems support the creating construction tag based on the data available in the 3D model. And the created tags will be maintained sustainably. We recommend creating construction tags in the authoring tools because these tags are used not only for the work packaging scope, but also to reference the object throughout the project. See this example tag. I can say it is an intelligent and rich with much useful information. Part of the tag is CWA and CWP reference. So automatically this object can be assigned to the package. Also, discipline and object types are part of the tag. So automatically execution type could be assigned based on the object. Main object reference is there. So overall progress of the object could be measured in that level. The individual progress can be measured in the construction component or construction object level. There are many benefits based on your project scope. From the very early stage, we could advise an intelligent tagging procedure and strategy that suit any project. Next, before I close, I will discuss some tips for data preparation and data transfer. Data preparation and transfer. These are general recommendations based on our experience and some of the best practice that we always follow. Fix the data and model errors or missing info or export issues in the authoring tools. Internally, O3 uses many techniques for data and model conditioning. but the best practice and best place to fix this problem is in the source. We do data conditioning based on the rules. So when we get the revised model, O3 will be able to deal with that without any manual work. But the issue is still there in the source data. So if the source data is used for another purpose, this issue will still be there. So it is a good practice to fix the issue in the source. Avoid using multiple intermediate format for data transfer. When transferring data for work packaging, avoid multiple intermediate format. Whenever possible, use a native model or direct API integration to avoid multiple data transfer. This will reduce the data loss or data quality loss or human and technology related errors, etc. Investigate and select a data transfer method and try to avoid many intermediate format and data conversions, etc. Get the model exported by project CWA and CWP discipline. This is more to the 3D model data transfer. Most of the time, data providers try to reduce their workload. This is a tendency from their side to provide a single model export for the whole project because it needs only one export. In the beginning, it will look fine, but in practice, it will create many issues. We always recommend to getting model in a reasonable granularity, so we can use them as needed, individually or inside a federated model. Our recommendation is to get the model exported in CWP discipline granularity. Export data model specifically for work packaging scope. So the needed information will not be missed. When we export data or 3D model for the authoring from the authoring tool for the construction scope, make sure that the needed information is included in the model. The person exporting the data should be well aware of the scope and data requirement of the export, and make sure that needed data is included in the export. We recommend avoiding using data or model exported for other purposes for the work packaging scope, because it's not a one-time thing. If you agree with that, you have to deal with that many years maybe for the data export. So it is always recommend to get an export for work packaging scope. For example, in 3D model exported for visualization, clash detection may not contain information about each construction object, but it might be include wider area of the project. So better not to use these models for work packaging scope. Save the export workflow and setting and reuse it. Project typically span years and we need data for the same duration. Once we agreed on a data exchange workflow, this will include exchange method, data requirement, etc. For that particular data transfer, we should always stick with that agreed workflow. We should always document and save all export settings and reuse them. This is very important for sustainable and smooth data transfer. When a data or model is revised, update only the revised and model data or model. This is highly important because in some project there may be hundreds of models. At every certain interval, client will provide the whole project model. Whenever whatever it has a revision or not, we recommend getting only the revised data and not everything. Clear procedure for data transfer and content, etc. for each discipline. Before starting the project, one should agree with the client, contractors, 3D modelers about the data requirement, data transfer method, frequency of data transfer, procedure for data quality check, format, data transfer workflow, etc. All right, let me summarize. O3 manage data for construction and engineering work packaging very efficiently. We do data pre-processing before taking to the system. During pre-processing, we make sure that there is data completeness, and if anything is missing, O3 provide option to import the missing data from the other source or derive data from the related data. We support many types of data import and manage data sustainably. data import is not a one-time thing for us. We always make sure that when a new revision of data is imported to the system, the work we did with the previous data revisions will not be wiped out. For that, we intelligently update the data. For O3, it is a continuously improving process. We are strong in data integration and managing data. We are agile. Every 2 weeks, we release a new version with new features. So you need not wait for months or years to get an update or new features. As per the priority, that will be included in one of the upcoming releases. If you would like to know more about O3 solutions and AWP data requirement and data transfer, we are the most experienced people in this arena. And please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Tori will provide you with the contact information. All right, I hope you have enjoyed the presentation today. Now I will turn it over to Tori to moderate any questions that maybe have come in. We will answer the questions as time permits, and any unanswered questions will be answered through email. I will turn over to Tori. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Justin. That was a lot of information and really great stuff. So just as a reminder, you can learn more about O3 by visiting us online at www.o3.solutions. We've got an entire library of case studies that you can download. You can watch our past webinars. We have tons of videos on our solution suite. And then you can connect with us on social media and so that you never miss an update, as well as signing up for our monthly newsletter. So with that, we'll jump into a few questions. We've got time, looks like, for maybe one or two. So Justin, let's see. If in a project, if 3D models are modeled in different authoring tools, can we combine and use them together? If so, what about the different data structure?
It's a very good question. That's the key role. We have a data management module. So we analyze the data is coming from the different source of data. We can create different rules to how to analyze this data and how to create the construction component. So if you have a project, some model is done in SmartPlan 3D, and we have a rules to analyze the SmartPlan 3D data and create the construction component from that. In the same project, maybe the steel is detailed in the Tekla structures, and that data have a very different format. So we have another rule to identify what kind of data is and analyze, apply this the rules and create the construction component from that. If it's same project, maybe we use E3D maybe in one portion, and we can use that. So we have different rules to apply to different data set, and end result is from this models which are not ready for the construction scope, maybe we add the different external data if needed, and make sure that from all these models we create the construction component, and the end user will always get the construction component in the O3 solution, regardless of it's coming from different sources.
Okay, great. Let's do one more question here. What size model is best? Can O3 handle extremely large models?
Well, O3 is a SaaS application. We actually we always recommend to get the model in CWP discipline, because once you get this in this granularity, you can combine and make it big models. And the model size, it's depend on how the graphical object, because as you know that if the curved surface like a pipe and all these things, finally in the graphic card is rendering the triangles, it may need more memory. But if it's the like a concrete objects like a flat rendering surface, it need less rendering. We support a big models. I mean, I don't know the megabyte and all these things we cannot say, because it's depend on the many factors like your graphic card, your what kind of computer processor and memory and also hard disk, what type of things the hardware you have depend on that. But we support big models, and any of our, we are dealing with a multi-billion the projects, and we never encounter that we cannot load a model, or we need to depend on other things to load the model. We can load big models.
Okay, well, thank you, Justin. I think that's about all the time we have today. But as a reminder, if we didn't get to your question, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at info@o3.solutions or contact us through the website at www.o3.solutions. So we hope you enjoyed today's webinar. As a reminder, you'll receive a copy of the recording and the slide presentation in the coming days. We'll email those out. And please enjoy the rest of your day and stay tuned for next month's webinar. And we'll post that on our website as well, and you can register there. So thanks again.